Okay, so you're probably saying to yourself, is John Clayton really back at school now? Well, sort of. I'm actually sitting in one of the classrooms at Chadwick School, and I thought it would be interesting to take a tour of this campus and meet the principal or headmaster, there's an English word for you, and talk to him about what this campus offers. So, let's go and meet Mr. Ted Hill, headmaster of Chadwick School. Give me a brief thing about some of the areas of the school that you're very proud of and that you like.
Well, I'd say first of all, since it's about a 50-acre campus, we enjoy the fact that there's a lot of open space in the campus, and there's a lot of natural beauty and changes in topography and views from the campus that are lovely. In terms of specific areas, the main lawn is really the center. It's our outdoor student union, so to speak. It's where our students and faculty tend to congregate in their spare time. The canyon, which has been restored by our students into its what it was originally. So they've
canyon, as in Big Canyon, has been restored?
Yes, that's right. So they've restored it with native plants, starting with the 7th graders, and then they continue on into the upper school. And then the Laverty Center is the newest building on campus. It's a beautiful performing arts center with not only a big theater, but more importantly, educational, instructional spaces for vocal music, instrumental music, drama, and dance. So that's those are some of the, I think, some of the.
That also raises the thought in my mind of all the places in California where you could place a school, going back to when the school was opened. How did they come to choose Palos Verdes?
Well, Mrs. Chadwick started the school as a home school in San Pedro. She had run a one-room schoolhouse in Utah earlier in her career, and she married a Navy commander in China. And they moved to San Pedro when he...
What a wonderful bit of history.
Yes, exactly. Well, and so they moved, he got stationed in San Pedro, so they had a home in San Pedro. She enrolled her kids in the San Pedro public schools. This was back in about 1930, early 30s. And found for different reasons that she'd prefer to homeschool them. Her homeschool gained popularity, and then pretty soon there were a number of other people that wanted to have their kids taught by Mrs. Chadwick. And she was quite an entrepreneur. And so she she realized that her home was no longer big enough in San Pedro and that she really needed a campus. So she met Frank Vanderlip, who at that point owned virtually the entire peninsula. And
a very fortuitous meeting.
Yes, it was. And she did a number of things like this. She met Ansel Adams, for example, up in Yosemite, and he was the school's first photographer. So we have all of these original Ansel Adams pictures of the campus and so forth. So she's quite...
That is the Ansel Adams?
The Ansel Adams, yeah.
Wow.
So she talked to Frank Vanderlip, and she convinced him that he really needed a school in Palos Verdes, and so he sent his... man who was in charge of the land around with Mrs. Chadwick and said she could have any spot on the peninsula that she wanted to.
Those were certainly the days, wow.
Yes, exactly. So she chose this site. Rather than founding the school on the ocean side, she wanted it on this site because, number one, it was warmer. Second, there are canyons on two sides, which as a boarding school, I think she thought there was something good about having natural barriers. And third, and probably most importantly, this is the side of the hill, of course, that opens to Los Angeles. And she wanted the school to not be cloistered any more than it had to be, being on a peninsula, and so she wanted it open to Los Angeles and the world, which is where the students came from, the boarding students. So that's how she chose this site.
I'm intrigued by this, I don't know what to call it. I mean, obviously it looks like a gorilla or an ape. What is that?
It is a gorilla. It's a ceramic gorilla. It's been a gag gift in my wife's family for Christmas for a long, long time. And a few years ago, I happened to be the recipient, and so I brought it back to California from upstate New York, and I asked whether I really needed to bring it back again, since that would be a pretty heavy thing to bring back. And they said, no, actually, if you would take it and keep it in California, we'd all rest much easier, that it wouldn't make another reappearance at Christmas. So it's been sitting here for about 10 years, watching over my work in the office.
Okay, let's go and look at some of the areas of Chadwick that the principal or headmaster has spoken about so highly. One of the first areas that we're in is, well, where are we?
We are on the main lawn, the Vanderlip lawn. That's really the centerpiece of the campus and functions as an outdoor student union for the upper school.
You told me as we were walking here about some of the famous students that were here. Just tell our viewers the names of some of those people.
Well, they were, in the early days, a number of the Hollywood stars sent their children to Chadwick as boarding students. I think maybe the lifestyle in Hollywood really wasn't conducive to raising children. So, you know, we had when we had softball games here, you had Ronald Reagan was here, and I think Dean Martin, and Liza Minnelli was a student here, so Judy Garland was here, and a number of pretty much anybody you can think of. Brandon Lee was the president of the student body here when Bruce Lee was martial arts king. So through the years there were, but when the school ended boarding in the late 60s, then of course it really wasn't feasible for people to commute from Hollywood. But it was quite a, probably 20 or 30 of the Hollywood stars had their children here.
I'm sure it would interest our viewers to know the student population is what, but it goes from, do you start when you're very little to up to, well, tell us.
Yes, we start in kindergarten, so it's kindergarten through grade 12, all 13 grades, about 850 students. We start with about 40 in kindergarten and in the elementary school, and then it grows to the high school average class per grade is about 100 students. And the class sizes are quite small, ranging generally between 15 and 20 per class, so that everybody gets a lot of individual attention and we can challenge each student.
I know that you place, from what I've read about you, a lot of emphasis on, I think the words were character development, and I found that very interesting. Explain that a little bit.
Well, the school has, that is true, the school's mission has three major components, one of which is the development of exemplary character. And basically what it is we want to set the bar very, very high, and because we're able to start with 5-year-olds, I think we're able to build in the 5 core values of the school, which are respect, responsibility, honesty, fairness, and compassion. And they're written throughout the school, and so all of our kindergartners can recite them. And over the course of their time at the school, this is a major point of emphasis, because we want the students to graduate being exemplary people who can set a great example for others as they go off to college and off into their communities. So in the high school and the middle school, actually, we have an honor code, for example, where students are allowed to take tests unproctored, they're allowed to take tests home. We don't have hall passes or anything. If you say you're going to the library, we assume you are going to the library. And our students...
So honor and trust is a very important thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely critical that our relationship between the faculty and the students is one of trust and respect, and we assume they're going to do the right thing. And 99% of the time they do, and we're very, very proud of the integrity of our students.
Ronald Reagan certainly did the right thing. That's very impressive. We're talking with Jared Agnew, one of the students here at Chadwick. Jared, first of all, thank you for coming here, and secondly, what are some of the reasons that you, or maybe your parents, decided to send you to Chadwick?
Well, it's a great school. It's a very, very tight-knit community. Everyone knows each other, everyone likes each other, and I think that's one of the great things about Chadwick is it's a very personable school. You get to know your teachers really well, and it's just a big, big family.
Did you know, or do you know, what you want to do in life, and what sort of impact has that had on coming to Chadwick?
I'm kind of undecided, maybe somewhere in the realm of business or engineering, but yeah, I think that the science program has a lot of different aspects, and so I think that's great if someone wants to pursue science, and then also, just once again, like getting to know your professors and all that kind of stuff.
This area that we're sitting in obviously looks like some sort of almost, I don't want to say Roman Colosseum, but tell me briefly, what is this area where we're sitting?
This is the Rosenwald Amphitheater. It's part of the new Laverty Performing Arts Center that was built a couple years back. And this is basically where we have our weekly assemblies. We do a lot of events in here and in the theater in the big building behind us. And we do all school assemblies here, graduation, it all happens right here.
Do you do plays here, and have you been in a play here?
Yeah, I actually do a lot of the theater musicals, the theater productions here. And yeah, the building right behind us has a big amphitheater also inside of it, which we do our musicals in there.
You were in a musical?
Yeah, I've done a couple actually. I think this year will be the 4th when I do this one this year, so.
What do you both sing and dance?
I wouldn't say I'm the best dancer, but I can sing pretty well. You know, I'm in the musicals, so they get me in for singing. So.
What was the show that you enjoyed doing most?
We did Rent 2 years ago. That was my sophomore year.
Oh yeah.
And that was just a really good musical. It's got great music. It's like a rock opera, I guess. So it's more modern music. So it was really fun to do.
So you like the athletic program too?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that. It's really flexible, especially for someone like me who does theater also. So I can do both and, you know, compete, but I'm also able to get all my studies done and do theater at the same time.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it makes you a well-rounded personality, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So your name is Sharon. What is your last name?
Song.
And do you like being here at school?
Yes.
What are some of the things you like about Chadwick?
Well, I like it about Chadwick because people are nice and I learn a lot in one day.
They what?
We learn a lot in one day.
You learn a lot in one day. What are some of the things that you like learning?
Well, we learn more stuff like math.
You like math, and how old are you, first of all?
8.
8 years old. 8 years old, and you like math. What about some of the sports and those things? Do you like doing sports?
Yes.
What sports do you like?
Well, I like running the track at PE.
You like running? How often do you do that? Do you do that every day or just once a week?
We do that every day at school.
And how long have you been coming to Chadwick?
This is my 3rd year.
This is your 3rd year, and do you think you're going to spend a long time here? I mean, to grow into a bigger girl?
Yes.
Do you live in Palos Verdes?
No, I live in Torrance.
You live in Torrance. Okay. What about some of the things that I see all the kids around playing? Are they in a playtime right now?
Yes.
And what kind of things are they doing?
Well, they could do all sorts of kind of stuff. They could go on the play structure or the tire swings and do many more stuff.
And what about your teachers? Tell me a little bit about, do you have a special teacher?
Well, they're all special to me.
They're all special to you. That's wonderful. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're talking with Allie. Tell me your last name, Allie.
Fraser.
And what do you do here at Chadwick?
I teach English in the middle and upper school here at Chadwick.
And I understand that you're also responsible for some worldwide activities. What is all that about?
Chadwick is a member of Round Square, which is a consortium of about 80 schools around the world. And I just help coordinate the Round Square program in the middle school for our 7th and 8th graders.
But when you say coordinate, that means what specifically?
Every year we take a group of middle school students to a conference of kids from Round Square schools throughout the world. We go to a conference every spring. So coordinating that just means interviewing the kids and selecting them and doing all the logistics to get ready to go on the trips.
So this is a conference where you take the kids to a place, not in California, but somewhere else around the world?
Typically, yeah, we go to another Round Square school. For the last few years, we've gone to Round Square schools in Canada.
So this, I would imagine, I don't know what words in your mouth, but I would imagine this is quite an honor for the kids that you choose.
I think it is, yeah. It's definitely a great experience as far as they always report back having a great time at I think it's a pretty meaningful time for them.
When you interview them or have a conversation with them, what are some of the things you look for?
We look for, so Round Square has these ideals, 5 ideals, things like internationalism and democracy and adventure and environmentalism. So we look for students who sort of live those ideals.
I'm intrigued by the word internationalism. Obviously I know what that means, but what does that mean in terms of what your project is?
That's a good question. For middle schoolers, I think it just means sort of having an awareness, a sort of interest in the larger world, even just beyond the gates of Chadwick. I think that internationalism can mean, on a smaller scale for the kids in middle school, can just mean an interest in, even greater Los Angeles and the sort of international community that we've got here and even on campus here at Chadwick.
Given what you've just shared with me, what were some of the things that drew you to come to Chadwick?
Oh man, so many things. The campus, the students, the sort of autonomy of the teachers, and there's a wonderful group of faculty here. I was attracted because of Chadwick's involvement with Round Square. I love the outdoor ed program. I think that that's really related to Round Square. There are a lot of the similar ideals. So many things.
I think when you walk around here, the campus itself, I mean, to do something that you love is one thing, but then to do something that you love in a campus like this, where, I mean, the whole thing is so idyllic.
It is, yeah. It's like a dream come true.
Chadwick has a campus in Korea.
Yes, a recently opened K-8 campus in Korea. We're opening a high school in September.
What is the most, and the last question, what is the most exciting, the most, I don't know, not sensational, but what is the most significant thing for you working here at Chadwick?
Just my day-to-day work in the classroom, I think, is the most meaningful to me, just being in the classroom with the kids.
So it's great to do what you love.
It is, yep, always.
So there's a tour of one of Palos Verdes' premier scholastic institutions, Chadwick School. I hope you've enjoyed the visit with me. And until next time, this is John Clayton saying, happy learning, take care.